Okay, guys, Alec, Peirce, Tech Tips. This happens. It happens fairly frequently. Now, it doesn't happen as much as it used to, but it does happen. So, you're going diving. Great. And you get your gear out and get the dust off it because you haven't been diving for several months. That's usually a clue as to where we're going with this. And everything's fine. You get your tank filled. You still fit into your wetsuit. Get everything all set, your regulator, your beast, all off you go to the dive site, drive for 3 hours, get to the dive site, unload all your gear. The first thing you do, of course, is put your scuba system together. So you put your BC on, you put your regulator on, you're all set. Then you get into your wetsuit and you're all ready to go. And you get your buddy, okay, all right, and you get your BC, you get your system on it, your weights on, everything else, you walk down to the water, and you, okay, let's give it a try. And you turn my air on, your buddy turns your air on, you put your regulator in your mouth, and you go, good, nice big breath of air. You can get air coming in. You can't blow out. What's with that? I mean, you got air coming in, that's good, right? But you can't exhale. What's going on? This is serious. If you can't exhale, you can't scuba dive, right? Wrong. Just go scuba diving. Get in the water. 90% of the time, if you can't exhale, jumping into the water will solve the problem. Now, it helps if you understand the problem, then you'll understand why I say that. Well, let me explain what the problem is. In most cases, okay, assuming you're going to exhale, assuming you can inhale and get air, take the front cover off of your regulator. Underneath, you'll find the diaphragm and the friction washer. Now, we just talked about this. In just a very recent past, a tech tip, I explained how to properly take your second stage apart to check this in. Now, if you want to, take a look at the exhaust valve. It's right down there at the bottom, the very bottom of the regulator, right down there. So that water and everything sinks to the bottom. So when you exhale, air goes out through that valve. Can you see that valve actually move there, Kevin? Can you actually see that? I think you can, and just like that. So little rubber, or the newer regulators are silicone flapper valve. It's called a mushroom valve or exhaust valve. It just sits over a hole on the other side of the hole. So when you inhale, it seals. When you exhale, it blows out. And the air goes out into the exhaust tee and into the water. So what's happened? Well, your regulator's been sitting in the basement or the closet for the past 3 weeks, 2 months, year, whatever it happens to be. And while it's done that, it's got very, very dry. And the exhaust valve, that little mushroom, it's very thin rubber, very, very thin rubber. It's not quite as thin as a surgeon's gloves, but it's very thin, thinner than an inner tube. And it's sitting on that dry metal, in many cases, or plastic in other cases, it's sitting on there. And it gets stuck. That's all. It just gets stuck. It's not glued on. It's just dry. You know, you get a piece of rubber and you put it on something, it dries, it sticks on it. That's all it is to it. So how do you fix it? Get it wet. Now you can actually take the regulator if you want to, and you can put it in the water, give it a good hard shake. Now that'll usually take care because water goes into the mouthpiece, bounces around inside, moistens that exhaust valve when it comes out. But if that doesn't work, just jump in the water. Down you go. Take a big breath of air. It'll come out. And off you go and enjoy your dive. That's all there is to it. If your regulator won't exhale, chances are it's simply a stuck mushroom or exhaust valve. Get it wet, blow on it, 90% of the time it'll work. Now if it is really, really stuck, another small trick that you can do is put your thumb over the mouthpiece like that and push on the purge valve. And the build-up of pressure inside the second stage will certainly pop it. However, try to get it wet first, because when you do that, you put a lot of pressure on there. You don't want to tear that exhaust valve. So get some water on it, put your thumb over the mouthpiece, away you go. Have a good dive. Okay, small tip, learned over the years, might help you. Take care. Alec, Peirce, Scuba Tech Tips. Talk to you soon.